Hello, everyone out there. I'm Roxanne, and this is Everything About Hallmark. And look who my guests are, the sister duo, Jax and Cassie. Hello, girls. How are you?
Great, Roxanne. Thank you for having us on today. We watched Sister Swap this weekend, so now we're feeling like we're channeling our Williams sisters vibes. And we love that we're really all decked out.
Yes, we are. We're decked
Super
out.
excited. We are so decked out. We're ready for the holidays here.
I know. I am excited that you girls are on because I've been doing my research and you are quite fascinating. So I want to hear all about all the details and whatever you want to share with all your viewers and all of your fans, because you girls have lots of fans. Do you know that? Do you realize how well loved you are?
Well, thank you. We're fangirls ourselves, so we're all swimming in that pool together, I think.
So I'm from a small town and I thought it was small. And then I looked up your small town, Mount Carmel, and I was like, wow, that is really small. Like, can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. So we're from a tiny coal mining town in central Pennsylvania called Mount Carmel. And I think at last count, the population was about 6,000.
Yes.
So, as you know, it's one of those environments when you go into the supermarket, you know everyone.
Yes.
It's a very small knit community. And it was great to grow up in because, everyone looks out for each other. It's, it was such a special place to grow up.
Now, what was the school like? Did you go to a larger district or did you have your own school system?
No, we had our own school system. I mean, first we started off in a Catholic school that was super small until I think I was in 6th grade, Cassie was in 5th grade. Then we moved to the big school, the high school that was a public school that was by, as you know, Roxanne, from growing up in a small town, by no means a big school, but it was big because it was 5 times the size of our elementary school. So no, we definitely went to a small school growing up, and we literally knew all of our classmates.
Now, do you go back? Do you still have family there to visit?
Yes. Yeah. We're very, very connected still to the town. Our mom and dad are there. Our brother is there. A lot of our hometown friends are still there. So we go back, every 6 to 8 weeks, if not more. And when we're in New York and we're not physically there, we often get updates of what's going on in the town. We'll get a picture from our parents of the newspaper, like, oh, this is the big story. So even when we're physically in New York City, we always feel like we're looped into all the hometown happenings.
Do you feel like a celebrity, or do they treat you like, you're the old people we already know?
Well, I have to say we were already high school celebrities because we were known as Sean's sisters because our brother was, I think I was telling you this before Cassie popped on, Roxanne, but Cassie was an incredible athlete in high school, but our brother was extremely well known, our little brother. So our claim to fame in high school was that it was, oh, look at those are Sean's sisters, and we're the big sisters. So it was always a little funny walking around with that sort of moniker. So I think our celebritydom in Mount Carmel started with our brother's athletic prowess.
Okay. That's cute. Now, how'd you get along? Because I have a sister. We are 15 years apart. And we are so much alike. We fight constantly, but we have each other's back. So now you two are like in business together. And I'm like, how does that work?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's an interesting age gap too, because we were the opposite. We were so close. We're 16 months apart. So the three of us were in the back of the car. I mean, it was right down in a line. Always the three of us went everywhere. It was, funny. I would say overall, I mean, we had the banter and the bickering and the teasing, but overall we got along quite well. Our house was always full of play and games, and there was always some sports event on TV and a game going on at the dinner table. And so I think from an early age we really bonded over game and play. And that has definitely carried out now as Jackie and I run this board game company together.
Right. So like tell me the story. I know there's a story that's up on the website, but I want to hear it. Tell us how it like even came about and all that good stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, so we, like Cassie said, we definitely grew up always playing games, playing sports. Some of us less competitive than others. I was probably the least competitive, but not because I don't have a competitive nature in me, but because when you're not good at it, it's not as fun to be competitive. But something that I was a little bit better at than I was the actual sports was board games. So that's something we definitely all bonded over. And then I would say it was about 5 or 6 years ago, we started making what would become Bundle. But first it was Momopoly, Dadopoly.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, it was really fun. We were cutting everything out by hand, and we were making all of these board games ourselves, giving them as gifts, playing them with friends, playing them with our family. And we sort of got this reputation for being the board game sisters. And then someone suggested to us, finally we moved away from just being Sean's sisters and had our own identity as the board game sisters. And it was really cool because we were having lots of fun with people playing. So we thought, okay, we can do this for our own family and friend groups. What would it be like if we did it for people that we don't know, but how would we find out info about them and how would we spread the word? So that's sort of when we started thinking, is this something we want to do? Right, Cass?
Yeah, I think that sums up the story quite well.
So now it's an actual company, a corporation, correct?
Yes. Yeah. So we filed all the paperwork and did all the legal steps. And so we're officially an LLC. We have our own website. We now work with manufacturers. As Jackie mentioned, we started making these games by hand, literally, scissors and glue. But then we realized, okay, we need to actually find a manufacturer who knows how to make board games. And so that was sort of the next big step in our journey, is finding a manufacturer who can make these games for us.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Brax.
Oh, no. I was just laughing because when Cassie said we filed all the paperwork, it was Cassie filing all the paperwork because we have similar skill sets for certain things. I think we're both really creative. We both like to have fun, but there are very separate skill sets as well. And I remember Cassie doing all the research on, all right, do we need a patent? How do we become an LLC? And all these things that felt really overwhelming when you're starting a company. And I know that I never would have been able to do it if I hadn't had a really good partner. So it's been really great getting to do it with my sister.
Now you have a background, Cassie, right? In finance, because when I was looking it up, I was like, oh, look at you. You have your name linked to some big names. I'm like, so does this help? I have to imagine this helps, right?
It did help. Yeah, I'm definitely one of those people. I like a good spreadsheet. From a very early age, I would do personal financing where I would have my piggy bank. And then when I was 14, I opened my own, very basic checking account. So I think at an early age, I sort of liked the idea of personal finance. And so, yes, when we started Bundle, we had to start thinking about like, okay, what do we want to price these games at? And what are all the costs that we need to be thinking about? So absolutely, I tried to get that Excel spreadsheet going and, doing all the behind the scenes work of how do you keep the company profitable and so forth. So I think definitely having a knowledge and interest in finance that helped in getting this off the ground.
Yeah, you have like a business plan, which is important because you get the best most creative idea and then it falls apart. So I'm like very excited for you girls. It's like it's a girl run business, isn't it? Is it just girl power going on there too? I love it. Now you are going to be hosting Christmas Con in New Jersey on Friday night. You're doing a game. Now you're not using your bundle game, are you? Or you're just, how's that working?
Well, that's a great question. We actually well, this is the fun thing. We actually are, in the sense that we're doing a celebrity game night. I'm getting really excited just talking about it. Like so our celebrity guests are Erin Cahill, Ashley Williams, and Tyler Hines. We're so excited because not only do we get to play the game with them, but all the fans that are coming to see them get to come and play, and there will be fans that get to come on stage. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh.
But we created a game, especially for Christmas Con, and we have a holiday themed game, a bundle holiday edition. So not only will we get to play that with the celebrities, but we'll also get to celebrate Christmas Con if people like it and have fun.
Okay.
But there are a few cards that are not in our bundle holiday edition that are being especially added for all the Heinies and Hallmarkies out there that are celebrity fans. So
all right, so you
tweaked
it. But it's going to be for sale, which is wonderful. I mean, I was going to ask about that because some people have asked me, and I'm like, I'm not sure. We will ask. Now, you have one for Rama Drama too. Are you going to be at Rama Drama and you're going to do the same thing, but so you have a whole new game for them?
We do. So for Rama Drama, we're doing a whole game that's romance focused and rom-com, and we have a game. So we make very personalized games for families, friends, corporations, you name it, we'll do it. We can personalize anything. But we also have a standard couple game. If you know someone who's getting engaged, but you don't know all the specifics about them and you want to honor that couple. But what is going to be cool about this one for Rama Drama is we're creating a game that not only celebrates couples and romance, but rom-com movies, everything that goes along with what you would even like, for an acted out card, chocolate covered strawberries. Or champagne, or things that make you think of romance. And we're getting to do that at Rama Drama, which I think is going to be a lot of fun there too, because who doesn't want to go to Florida in the winter? I mean, we're excited.
In January, right? Like, my goodness, up this way is pretty cold. So that will be exciting. Now, did you have help with those questions, or is it you two late at night thinking up this stuff?
Oh, good question. It's a little bit of both. So Jackie and I are typically, fans of whatever show, TV, movie, TV show that we're creating. But we also love to get the input of other fans who love this stuff as well. So, for example, 2 years ago, we created a Hallmark Channel themed game that was all about Countdown to Christmas. And we worked with the team at Hallmark Channel, and we worked with different fan groups on Facebook, and we said, send us your ideas for cards. We'll incorporate everything into the game. So it's a little bit of both. We love getting feedback from people. And then Jackie and I will then start to fill in the gaps of, different questions we want to add ourselves. So it's very collaborative at very least.
Now, that's nice because that's really like, I would be looking for my questions. I'd want the game just to see if my questions were in there. Now, that one is available still too, or no?
That one, fortunately, it was good. It's sold out. I think we have like 2 copies in our inventory that we've been holding on for posterity. If there's anyone going to Christmas Con, we'll probably sell the last 2. So that one is no longer in production, but we do have a one calls the Heart game for Hearties. We have that.
That was my next question, because that was what people were asking me, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to ask, and there you go. You covered it. That's great. So I'll make sure when we're finished our chat, I'll list all this stuff for them. I did put the link somewhere in here, but I will link it again. And I was said to my sister when I had to run to Target, and I had to come back, and she's asking me questions. I'm like, I gotta go get on the podcast. She's like, who is it now? And I was telling her, and I said, please get on, because I want you to get a game made for our family, because they love stuff like that. She's like, oh, I got to get on there, because she always needs some cool ideas for her in-laws. And I'm like, oh, yes. And then don't stop there. Get one for us,
Keep going.
Yes, I want. And then One Calls the Heart. I need that one. You've got that one already made, which is great. So tell me, you know what? I hear your name all different ways. I hear Jackie from your sister, then I hear Jax. So I have different names too, depending upon where I am, who my group is. What is it that you prefer to be called?
Okay, so that's a great question, and it's I don't want to say it's an identity crisis, but I like it in
Mhm,
the fact that when I moved to New York and I had to pick my union name,
mhm,
there was a Jackie Collier who was a
mm,
very successful dentist, and I did not want there to be. She still is. Good for her.
mhm.
She did very well. I didn't want there to be any confusion. So when I registered for Actors Equity, which is the theater union, and SAG, which is the film and TV, I was Jacqueline Collier. And whenever I would go to an acting class or an audition or book a job, I was Jacqueline. So then I would know that's how people would know me. They know me from acting stuff. They know me as Jacqueline. Everyone from my hometown, my family, all my college friends knew me as Jackie, so call me Jackie, except for one guy named Brian, who's one of my really good friends, and he called me Jax. And then
Oh,
that became my podcasting name and
yes.
Hallmark fun fandom name that I, as a fangirl, now I'm like, oh, I'm Jax the fangirl. So you're welcome to call me anything, but I feel like Jax when I'm talking about
Okay.
Hallmark stuff. Wait,
Yes.
can I ask you what your different? I mean, do people call you like Roxy?
Well, okay, if you want to talk a tiny bit about me, because it's really all about you girls. It's Roxanne is my name, but my family calls me Ro, R-O. But my nieces and anyone that is younger calls me Ro. And at work, they call me Fox because when I was growing up in town, in my small town, I had a jumper that said Foxy on it. So my teacher called me Foxy Roxy, and everybody calls me Fox. So I know that those are all my names. I know. So
Yours are really good. Like I'd love to be called Fox or Foxy.
I mean, well, sometimes it's a little weird because then people have like when they see it, they expect something like different or someone wild, and I am not the wild type that jumps on the bar and dances around. That is so not me. I'm having a cup of tea in the corner.
You got your little bit of flair though with the
Oh
lovebird
yeah,
headbands.
that's from my babies, my kiddos and stuff at school. So yes, I do have that. That comes out then. That's when I'm fun and I jump around. But if I'm not in the classroom, just row is perfect for me. Now
Foxy Roro.
I know Foxy Roro. That's a whole new one now. My nieces hear this, they'll love that. Oh my goodness. Now you were talking about Jax, you were talking about like joining the union. So tell us about your acting career. Uh-huh. Your new little movie. Well, not little, but your new movie coming out.
Yeah, so that's really exciting. And actually, Cassie was a part of the audition process
Oh,
for that movie. And my mom, we were all, well, Cassie lives here. My mom was visiting town. And we were all together when the audition came in. And I said, okay, I need to film this audition now. Can you help? So we go through the whole audition together. They're reading with me. My mom is giving copious notes on
oh gosh.
do it this way, do it that way. Like when I was a little girl in community theater,
Mhm.
and she was coaching me. My mom and my dad, even though we were the sports family in town, they were both very involved and always going to my plays and making sure I got to be really involved in everything. So I did this audition and then was casting the engagement plot with Trevor Donovan and Rachel Boston. And I've been wanting to work with Rachel Boston for a long time. I mean, when they say manifest or pray for things or put out into the universe,
Right.
you know the app Pick Stitch?
Yes.
So the amount of pick stitches that I have done of me and Rachel, and we have a photo together from Christmas Con 2 years ago, but I didn't stop there. I would put us in pick stitches and just send them off to people and say, I want to play her sister. What can I do? Rachel Boston, I would say to her. And then actually it was sort of through a random sequence of events that we both got cast in the movie, and we had so much fun filming it. Brian Bird he's the executive producer, creator of One Calls the Heart, One Hope Calls, among many other things like Step by Step, which Cassie and I loved watching growing up.
Me too.
Right? And the theme song
It's so good.
It's so good. And he and his wife, Patty Bird, they're incredible. Their son, Taylor, wrote the script. It's wonderful. I'm so excited to see how it turned out. But everyone on the set, the director, Brandon Clark, he was incredible. His dad and his brother worked on the movie also. I will say I've been very, very lucky, whether it's been doing theater, TV, and film. I haven't really experienced the sort of toxicity that people talk about, like, oh, it's so competitive. Yes, it's very difficult to get jobs, but it was never that I felt like I was in an audition room with a bunch of girls and we were all looking at each other nasty or anything like. So this set was really great to be a part of, and I'm so excited to see how the movie turned out. Rachel and I text every day about her baby, and we check in on each other, and she says things like, oh, here's a picture of my sonogram, and please tell everyone at Christmas Con I'm going to miss them. She's the most loving, wonderful person. So it was a really inspiring set to get to be on.
Now, what's the title? Tell us the title.
Oh, I probably should have said that before I talked all about the movie.
I know what it is, but you tell us.
Sorry about that.
That's
I'm
okay.
oh, here's everything about the movie. It's called The Engagement Plot.
Yes. And go ahead.
Oh, and it's coming out in 2022, but we don't know exactly when it's coming out. We don't know exactly where. So for any information with The Engagement Plot, if you're following the hashtag on Instagram, we're all sharing a lot of things, hashtag The Engagement Plot. And of course, you're following Trevor or Brian Bird or me or Rachel or anyone involved. We're posting all the updates and backstage and behind the scenes fun for that.
Yeah, I did. We saw that. I saw that, and I know other people have too. So I didn't know if there was even like more that came out, but we'll just keep on going, right? We'll just follow along and you'll update us.
Yeah. Okay. And we're really excited for it to come out and have a premiere and get to see it all come together.
Oh my gosh, what would the premiere be like? What would that be like?
Well, it's funny. That's what Rachel and I have been talking about, because she's going to have her baby, I think at the end of January she's due. And we were saying, Grace is going to get to be at the premiere. So we're really excited. We really were a big, happy family on set. So I think we're all excited to get to see each other again. And for everyone to see the movie that we made, we're hoping it turns out really well.
You know what, that I hear more of that, like when I'm talking to like different actors or even like a director or even a set director, whoever's involved in making of movies, they'll say that or a show that when you get along, then, I mean, even though people are like, oh, you're an actor, you know, how stressful can it be? It is stressful. Everybody's job has stress in it. But if you get along and you respect each other, that makes it like feel like you're having a good time and you're not working. So I love hearing stories like that. And I think that when you have that kind of like camaraderie, I think it shows in the movie itself, and then they become very successful. Like it carries over. So I'm excited for you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun.
So now you're really going to be a celebrity in your own right. Forget about, you know, your brother's coattails. You're just going to be like, when you go home in the grocery store, they're going to, you know, want to roll out the red carpet for you.
I think that would be really amazing, getting to the grocery store and like walking in with like my hair all done and sunglasses, and then just hearing, look, it's Sean's sister. I'll never escape it.
Well, the little bit of fame that our hometown has had, the older woman in The Wedding Singer, this delightful woman, Ellen Albertini Doe, she was from our town.
No.
And the whole town just loved her. And there's a little shrine in our public library dedicated to her.
That's cute.
So, Jackie, you are on your way, I think, to getting your own shrine in the library too.
I mean, we spent a lot of time in that library growing up. So if there's anywhere that I want to try, and it would be there.
It's there.
You should make a bundle game for your hometown.
Oh my goodness, that would be so
whole region
fun.
bundle. Oh, we'd have so many things. Roxanne, that's a great idea.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool. That would be fun.
We'd
right?
have so much good material. Oh
You
my goodness,
would.
there's so
I
many
know.
quirks that that
Now-
surface in these small towns.
I like that idea. And then I want you to make one for my hometown. I'll send you all the stuff. They'll love it. I have a really cool mayor. He's been mayor for like a while, but he's an amazing man. Like, he'll give up his seat for your family at his restaurant. He's just adorable. So if we did something like that, he would probably, I don't know, I'm going to think about this. He would love that. Cool ideas. We're already generating. It's our
I like this. I like this session. It's like a work session here. But honestly, yeah, the mayor of the town, you tell him to let us know. We can make one all about the town.
I would love that because we have cool facts like blueberry capital of the world, and we're the most Italian town in the USA according to the census. So we got some cool stuff we can share with you. And to tie it with you, we have a Mount Carmel festival every summer. Yes, in July.
When this is meant to be.
Yeah. When I heard your name, I was like, oh, I gotta look them up. I know. Cool.
The Mount Carmel Festival. We should attend, I feel like that.
You should come one time. You really should. And there's one, it's like for a whole week. And then one day it's like on the 16th of July. That's like a holiday for me. No one else thinks that, right? Except for me. And when people are born on it, I'm like, oh, that's a special holiday. People are like, what are you talking about? Like, oh, you're not from Hamilton. You don't know. Now, Cassie, I know you have an interesting background. Now tell me, it's the Peace Corps, right? Am I getting it right?
Yes.
Tell me about this. Like,
that's right.
Who decides, like what age did you know you were doing this? And tell us what happened.
Oh my goodness. Well, we come from a small hometown. There's not a lot of opportunities to meet people from different countries and cultures. And so I think from a young age, I always thought, if I ever get the chance to explore the world, I would love to do that. So right out of college, I started to look at, okay, what's next? And I met someone I think it was in the basement of my college campus. And she said, I just got finished doing the Peace Corps. It's this amazing opportunity. You can, live in a different country, learn a new language. So I applied. It was a very extensive process. You have to go through all these medical checks and all these screenings and fingerprinting, because the Peace Corps, it's a government program and it places Americans in different countries. It started with John F. Kennedy. And so I got to live in Nicaragua for 2 years in Central America, learned some Spanish. And this really, I think, it was such an inspiration for me because I worked with a lot of women, especially, that were looking for ways to support their families. And a lot of them would start their own businesses. And they didn't necessarily have a ton of money, a formal education, but they had the guts to go for it. And they had an amazing creative brain on how you could take something and create a business around it. So I worked very closely with them over this 2-year span of, how do you market your product? How do you write a business plan? How do you do accounting for it? And I came back to the US really inspired by all this work. And I thought, well, once this idea hits, whatever the big idea is for a business, I'm going with it, and I need the right partner to do it with me. So, and then, it was just perfect happenstance that my partner was my own sister, but it was very much, Bundle is so much, I think, so inspired by the work that I did in Nicaragua with the women there.
You know what? I'm not surprised. I read a little bit about what you had said, I think in an interview, or there was an article written about it. And I was reading and I was like, I have to ask you, because to me, that's fascinating. And to me, I'd be afraid. I'd be afraid of all the shots I had to have just to go there. That's just, I don't know if I have the courage to do that. So thank you for doing it. And then you come back and then you're able to use things happen for a reason. So and I find this too as a teacher, that people always say, oh, thank you for teaching my child. I'm like, you have no idea how much your child taught me. Like the experience, right? You learn from it too.
Oh, 1,000%. would like to think, I made some good impact when I was there, but 100%, I definitely took more away from the experience than I gave. I mean, the people down there were so hospitable. They taught me so much about courage and resilience and creativity. So I 100% second everything you're saying. As a teacher, I experienced the same thing as a volunteer down there.
That's exciting. I don't know. I find people fascinating, but I love that story. Now, I'm thinking, we're around the corner to 2022. That's weird, right? So do you have anything exciting that's happening that we should be looking out, for, or any news you want to share with us, or no, because it's all secretive?
When people say like, oh, we've got a really exciting thing coming down the pipeline, but we can't reveal anything about it. No, nothing like that.
Yeah, when calls the heart, when hope calls, a Christmas movie that's coming out, a new commercial. That's the new thing. They tease it. I can't take it.
We're always very much open books if we have news to share, which I think is funny. Maybe like we'll be a little bit more, have a little bit more intrigue or mystery. I think that what's great that we're, going ahead into the new year is that something that we were always really active about, and that was a lot of fun for us, especially in our first year and a half in business pre-pandemic, was that we got to a lot of in-person events with Bundle. Now, it was wonderful when we were able to pivot during lockdown and we had a lot of virtual things, and that was really fulfilling for us during that time, and we did a lot of that. But I do think that Cassie and I are really looking forward to getting back to doing events in person again. And I think kicking it off with doing Christmas Con and then doing Rama Drama, I think in 2022, there'll be a lot more opportunities, hopefully, where we can all be gathered safely in person together again. And otherwise, though, we'll continue to be Zoom in all of our virtual events because those have been fun.
Okay. All right. I didn't even realize that you were even hosting the virtual event. So that's nice because it was terrible being in lockdown, wasn't it? Like it was almost sad and depressing. And here you come out with this game. So that must have really that had to go over big, like I was looking on the internet for things just with my students so I could connect with them. And I love and then along the way, I found out about this and I was like, oh my, this is good because it brings, like when you play a game, we give games as gifts to our children in need in our community. They ask for board games because it brings the family to the table. It brings them together and you get to interact and your extended family, because families look like all kinds of things. And I love that. And now this is what you girls are doing. So that's so I'm excited. When we're done, I got a list of all the ideas of the games that I want.
Send them our way.
I will. I promise. I'm a woman of my word. What did you call me? Foxy Roro is a woman of her word.
You just need a Foxy Roro t-shirt.
I know. You know what? My sister makes them. I'm going to tell her. She'll probably be like, "What's that?" She won't like it. Oh my goodness. We have time for some questions. Would that be okay? And see what? Okay, good. Or just even some sharing the love. Let's see. I think Janice had a question. Let me see. I'm going to show it. She says, if I remember correctly, the Christmas Con is in New Jersey, is going to be at the Expo Center in Edison. Correct, right? Yes.
Yes. And this venue, they were posting photos this morning. If you're not following along, at their Instagram is at that's for ENT, for like the number
4. Yeah.
And they are, I mean, those women work their tails off. They are incredible people. They're wonderful to work with. And they are already in there setting everything up, see what it's looking like. And then we will definitely be there at our bundle booth for the whole weekend, which will be a lot of fun.
which is nice. And it's very well organized. I've been before. This is how I went the last one they had, which wasn't last year because, we had to carry it over. And I met, that's how I met Erin there, Erin Krakow. And I cried like a fool. And we have it on
Not
video.
like a fool. She's amazing. I feel you.
I know. She's hugging me and she's yelling, "We have a crier." And my family's like shrinking in the corner.
Pretending they don't know you.
It's all good. It's all good. So, we have it. Okay. So I'm sorry. They had it all decorated. Like there was even this one set that you could go on and take pictures in. And there was a line for it. They had it all organized and you could go in, take a picture. My family didn't know there was a line and they got in and cut in front of but they handled it. Then they were like, "We're so sorry." Like we didn't realize. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, we're making a spectacle. We should exit soon." But it was very organized. It is a lot of people are there, but they had it like lines going just so. I thought it was really smooth and they did a great job. And I hear that for those that are going to, worry about being tested or whatever, they've got that all under control too. They have all kinds of options. You just have to go look at the website and then they tell you what to do.
Yeah.
So it'll be safe and it'll be fun. Yes. That's what our governor always says, safety first. So that's why I said it'll be safe and then it'll be fun. Let's see. Dear Hallmark, she says that, let's see. Oh, she's telling me she didn't know that Dara didn't know that we're the blueberry capital. Dara's not far from me. When I got to talking to her, I'm like, where are you from? I'm like, "You're 30 minutes away. We must go to dinner."
Oh, I didn't know she was that close either.
Yeah, she's close.
It's funny that we don't know. I realize it's so wonderful to be able to connect with everyone in the virtual space, but I never assume that anyone is in close proximity.
Neither do I.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't ever think that, but it's great when you think, "Oh, we could actually meet up IRL."
We could. And the world is small. You think it's huge, but it's really small. Now, Janice has another question. She says, "Of course, acting has stress if you want to do it well, just as does teaching or nursing or any other occupation," which is so true. Yes, we get that. I hear you. And okay. This one I think is for this one's for you, Cassie. She's saying, "Wow, because you're awesome doing your whole, overseas teaching."
Oh, thank you. Very nice.
All right. I don't think we have any questions. I do think that Bran or somebody stopped in from, yes, they put Go Team. Look.
So we do have to give a shout out to I have it right here.
Okay.
Our Deck the Hallmark boys.
Yes.
We love them. And Cassie 2 years ago, basically shared their booth. It was basically a bundle and a Deck the Hallmark booth where Cassie was selling their t-shirts and they were selling our games. And it was like, wait, is this a new company? What are we doing here? So they are the most supportive, hilarious, awesome guys. And we're really excited because we've missed them and we'll get to see them this weekend.
Wait a minute. I didn't realize they're going to be in New Jersey. No, because I had them on too. And I didn't realize that. Oh, I've been telling my sister to watch because she loves that kind of chaos. And when they were on, I was like, I first watched you and I was like, oh, from a teacher's perspective, I had to not watch anymore. But then I was like, I got to go back. And then, of course, you're hooked because they're hilarious. Like everything they say is true, right? But they say it in their most hilarious of ways, not to offend. And that's why I said to her, I'm like, you have to watch because you are going to love them. And I can't believe they're going to be there.
It makes me laugh so hard that you say from a teacher's perspective, because I totally understand that. And the hilarious thing is that they are all involved in education.
I know.
Like Dan's a principal or was a principal, and Brand was a teacher, and Pat, and I can't even imagine what it would have been like growing up with them in a classroom. A lot of fun, but yeah, they're so great.
Now, I do have some more. It says, oh, okay. Janice said it's always wonderful to have positive representatives of America. Aw. And let's see. Dara says, does Jax have any more mysteries to watch? Oh, is that like an inside little joke?
No, so I love mysteries,
Yes.
mystery
Yeah.
maven Jax, and like to call myself. And I did when I was on Dara's podcast. She was really good at figuring stuff out, even though she's new to the mystery world. So I called her Detective Dara, and she's been hot on the case. She's been catching up, and there's still lots that we have to watch together, and that she's catching up with as well.
Are you now, do you girls, I know you said you love all the whole, Christmas movies, all the romantic movies. Do you have favorites? Like if you had to make a recommendation to someone for like your favorite Hallmark Christmas movie, do you have one?
Jackie probably has a whole bunch.
For different reasons.
I have too many. I would say though, for this season, Santa Stakeout with Paul Campbell.
Yes.
And oh my gosh. And Tamara Mary Housley, who she will be at Christmas Con. And then Unexpected Christmas with Joy Lenz and Tyler Hines is great. The Sister Swap movies were so good. Well, the first one, we haven't seen the second one yet.
Well, that's going to be good too.
There's so many good. Every time a bell rings, it's also about sisters with Aaron Kate. There's too many. There are too many. But I would say if you haven't watched any yet, start with Santa's Stakeout because there's a mystery involved, and that's always a good place to start, in my opinion.
And I do like a Hallmark Hot Minute review, and I talk really fast, very South Jersey, and go blah, 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 blah in 1 minute. And I said that. I was like, you know what? I usually can guess, but this one stumped me a little. I had a little bit of a stumped whodunit in that. But Paul Campbell, well, the whole cast is amazing. But that man is like my dream guest. Not that I don't love you girls, but I want him on because I want to pick that brain. He's hilarious, and he's serious, and he can write, and he can direct, and he can act. Like, that man's amazing, right?
It's so funny because this season on Hallmark, I've been saying everything Paul Campbell touches turns to gold.
Sure.
He wrote An Unexpected Christmas.
Yes.
And there was something there. There's this moment when you're talking about him being so funny in the banter. He puts in these nuggets that you don't even know if people will notice. So he's having Tyler Hines' character have a difficult time writing speech. And he says, this is a heartbreaking work of staggering genius. And one of my favorite books is A Heartbreaking Work of Staggering Genius by Dave Eggers, which is kind of it's not an old book, it's not a new book. So it's not really a deep cut, but it's not like it's on the New York Times bestseller list now. And I thought, was that random or what was that? And I DM'd him and I said, Paul, please tell me that was a Dave Eggers reference. And he said, that was a Dave Eggers reference. And I was like, Paul.
He's so good. One of my favorite scenes of that movie. Well, first of all, I loved all of the actors that were involved, and people who have smaller and bigger parts. They were all amazing. So sometimes when you have like actors that are very polished, and then you have someone who's new come on, you can see the difference. That was not the case in this. It was good writing, good directing. Everybody looked like they were comfortable, and they really looked like they had real relationships and real families. So I love this scene because it reminded me of my own family that's cuckoo. When they all decide to get into the van or the SUV and the camera's like straight up on them and all their heads are, I was dying. It was like great. And I'm like, this is an amazing movie. Morgana, she plays the assistant. She's actually going to come on. She's coming on next week, and I love her. And I'm like, I want you on because I want to talk to her about, like, she did a great job, and even though she's like half the time on the phone, like her character, I remember it. She's good. So I'm like, can't wait to like talk with her. We can.
And those are the hardest roles to play, I feel like, when you have to come on. I mean, even Tyler Hines is saying that about, he had a cameo in Andrew Walker's movie. They were saying, even when you're a very seasoned actor, it's the most difficult thing to come into a movie and deliver one or two lines, or to have just a couple of scenes. So I think that it's so great when you see that throughout an entire movie, everyone is really on their A game, no matter what size role they have.
Yes. And it's true. And I like it because I'm sure they're all wonderful actors. Like, some have like a natural talent and they're all good. They want their few minutes, but sometimes I guess the way it's either directed or the way it's written, it doesn't always make them shine. But in this movie, everybody was shining. And I was like, oh, I was so excited. I'm so excited about it. Now, Teresa has something nice to say. I think your game will act as a legacy for families because it will bring up memories and stories about those in the family and those who have passed. What beautiful conversations will be started. I love that. Thank you for that, Tia. I know her as Tia. Oh,
yeah, it's such a good point, Tia, because oftentimes we'll make a game for a family and we'll say, you know, is there anything you want included? And they'll say, I would love if you could include something about our grandpa who passed away last year, or our grandma who's no longer with us. And you're right. It's such a beautiful way to keep their memory alive, even though they may not be physically there. You can teach future generations about, you know, relatives who have passed. So it's such a joy to be able to do that for families.
Yeah, it's like the origin story of Native Americans or indigenous people, where I was talking to my students about it. They come together and someone tells the story and they pass it around. And that is what's going to happen when they're playing the game, which is really beautiful. So, oh, that's a good note to end on. All right. You girls can stay for a minute, but I'm going to say good night. No, good afternoon, because it's not nighttime yet. Sorry, I'm used to being in the night saying this. And actually, I will be on this evening with Joni Kane, who is an author and a writer. She wrote The Christmas Card, which is like yes, with Ed Asner. She's coming on, and her brain, like, I am so excited to hear all kinds of things that she's going to share. She's so cool. So she'll be on tonight.
And that's legacy of Foxy Roro getting the Christmas Card is one of the most iconic movies in the canon. So
it's my ultimate favorite. I must watch it every year at least 2-3 times at least. So when Joe, and then she calls me on the phone. I pick up and her phone, she's calling me and I'm like, you're calling me. Like, I have to act all refined when I'm talking to her. Foxy Roro's a hot mess when I'm talking, but it's okay. Oh my goodness. All right, you girls stay. Everyone else, you have a good afternoon.
Thank you so much.